Do you want to hit it long and straight like Gary Woodland does? Here are 6 tips you can add to your golf swing today to help you be more consistent and hit longer drives. Starting with the backswing. On the left-hand side, Gary Woodland has his driver. And as he makes his backswing, what we're going to see is how much his legs are moving. So his left leg is flexing, his right knee is straightening some, which allows his hips to rotate. When you can get the hips to turn, that allows the upper body to rotate more, and getting that left shoulder under the chin gives him a nice full backswing. As he continues up to the top of his swing, the left arm is nice and straight, the right elbow is underneath his right hand, and his left wrist is nice and flat. One thing that he does really well is keeps that left arm straight and more out in front of him, which creates a bend in his right wrist, so he's presetting the club there. When we look at the right hand side of the screen, we can see the same thing with his iron. So that left arm stays extended and that left wrist is nice and flat. On his downswing, he gets that left arm to move away from his chest, so we can see that there's a gap between his body and his left arm. So that left arm moves out away from him, which gets that club to stay more behind him. And this is key here to hitting consistent drives and hitting it far, is keeping that club head more behind him. So the left wrist starts to flex a little bit here, and then the right wrist stays bent like it was at the top of his swing. So this allows him to come more from the inside part of the golf ball to create more of an in to out club path, which allows him to hit it right in the center of the club face. When he starts down with his downswing, he moves into his left side. So this is point number 5, is he gets a good transition with his lower body. It's almost like he's pushing down into his left foot here. There's his weight shift, and then next comes the rotation. And what Gary does really well with here, when he comes down, continues down, it's almost like he starts to push backwards here. And what I mean by that is he's pushing off of his left foot and feels like he's pushing back towards his right shoulder. And when he can do that, he allows his hips to create full rotation through the shot. Now, Gary Woodland's a very athletic player. He played college basketball, and because of that, he's got exceptional balance. So balance in the golf swing is constantly moving from our balls of our feet to our toes to our heels. And when we look at his balance here, his weight is on his outside part of his left foot. You can see how his foot's coming off the ground, and then he's pushing down, getting the weight more onto the right big toe, is I like to call it, or inside part of the right foot. So his heel is off the ground. We can see the same thing over here on the left side of the screen. So right heel's off, left toes are off the ground. And when he can push off that left foot and feels like he's pushing backwards or more jumping backwards, that gets his hips to rotate, which we can see over here on the left side. It keeps his hands in really close to his body. And then he keeps that club shaft down the target line for as long as he can. So he's more rolling his wrists or rotating them versus flipping them through impact there. And that's what allows him to be so consistent, is he gets his body working, he gets good rotation through the shot, he uses his legs and generates that speed and power from his whole body versus just his arms and hands. So if you can swing with like Gary Woodland and implement these six tips of creating hip turn in the backswing, keeping that left arm extended at the top of the swing, and then on the downswing, get that left arm to work away from the body to get that in to out club path. And that's what's going to help you hit it straighter and longer. And then on the downswing, continue to move into the left side and then feel like you're pushing back and get that full hip turn with the left leg straightening. So if you can add those 6 things to your golf swing, you're going to hit it very solid and hit it far like Gary Woodland does.